How are you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Okay, so this live, I am looking forward to sharing my experience, and it's my experience as a part of OB Fitness. Um, so, what is this live about? It's really about the reality we faced as it regards to a particular blogger who used our videos to push a political agenda. Um, from my point of view, still, it's a case that I am not directly perturbed with the outcome by itself, because, to be very frank, when I started this journey of creating videos of geologic nature, when I began the journey of revealing to the public the availability, the presence of geologic resources, gold, silver, copper, and I then now also went on the journey of exposing and making available to the public the reality rather of earthquake zones, and trying to use the videos in a way to sensitize, to educate the regular man, the layman, on these matters. At the end of the day, I already foresee that it is highly likely that these videos will be used in ways that are not as it would have been intended on my part. So I already foresee that some things would have happened. When it was a case, though, that it was brought to my attention that the particular video pretty much is aligned with corruption, and the corruption of the prime minister, etc., and then the collaborator on the video, the other party on the video, his image would have been on the thumbnail, and the video would have just been, it's like the entire video the blogger run. That video was like 40 minutes, at least 30 minutes in that video. And in the second video, was a 20-minute video, at least 10 minutes in that video. The man run it and basically, pushing his agenda. When it's a case that the other party, could have expressed feeling uncomfortable about the reality, fearful even, that was when I realized that it was definitely a serious matter. So in that regard, I ensured that I took the necessary course of action to get relevant advice, and I am grateful for the advice that I received by the legal contact. And in so doing, it charted the way forward for us to basically have that video removed. And in so doing, it basically, is what sets the stage for me to speak today, because it's very important to lay it out there, as much as it was, advised, to me that I don't really need to say anything about it. In my view, something still needs to be said, because in essence, that particular blogger, when I was going through the stream, I could have seen at least 5 of my videos that the person basically downloaded. And the person was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just choose a one, and I got through all of them to create his angle. So in essence, even though action was taken on our part to, let's just say, cauterize that particular video, the gold mine video, from being uploaded by any other party, other videos such as the iron ore videos or other gold related videos of ours can be uploaded. And as such, again, I just say, you know what, we need to come out and we need to talk about the reality. And the reality is that for some people, many people, it's going to always be there. You're going to always have, those individuals who will use critical reasoning to, at least decipher and to interpret. And then there are those individuals who won't use it at all. So, with that being said, knowing that that is the reality, you can't really get too caught up personally in that. However, you should still, as an individual, if you come across experiencing that, have the capacity to articulate what it is that you would like to articulate in a way that does not necessarily come off in an abrasive manner. So, in essence, Jamaica does have gold. Yes. Jamaica has silver. Yes. Jamaica have copper. Jamaica have platinum. Jamaica basically have iron. See? I haven't come across any form of kimberlite, so we're not aware of Jamaica having diamond as it is currently speaking. But here's the thing that people now need to understand. There is economics where it comes to the mineral resources in Jamaica. It's not just in Jamaica, across the world. There is a narrative that is basically many of the Jamaican people seeing the video and or videos indicate that we are selling off our resources to the white people. And they're making that conclusion without even, first of all, listening to the points raised in the video. But nonetheless, they form a perspective. But here's the thing you still need to understand. There is economics and there is business around minerals. And in essence, here's the point too. I have not come across regular Jamaican people, that is, who, on the public domain, express the interest, the desire to invest in gold exploration or gold mining or copper or iron. I don't really hear anybody say that. See? So if it's a case then that as an open market Jamaica, we basically present to potential investors that Jamaica is open for business. And in so doing, you would have investors, no matter them skin color, who basically decide to come into the country and to invest into the country, invest in a manner that would even be about them prospecting, exploring, testing, and then once it is a case that it is proven to be economical, to decide that they're going to extract. At the end of the day, he or she or them, depending on the nature of it, have their investment to recoup. And in so doing, it's a business. So in essence, Jamaicans will get work once it's a case that there is quantifiable resources. So in that being said, as a people, we should not necessarily be so combative, if you will, towards the notion that we will have foreigners or we will have white people come into the country to invest in the country. Because I can tell you, it costs a lot of money to basically say, you know what, you're going to drill to try and find whether or not there is gold or whether or not there is quantifiable silver or any other mineral resource. Better yet, if we even have a talk about the oil or the natural gas, you think of cheap money that. So when it's a case now, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, we are sell off our resources there, man. This and this and that and that. Put up your money. You be the one to be like, you know what, all right, yeah, man, I'm willing to take that risk. Be sure know the government is not going to turn it down. And in addition to that, if it's a case that you see somebody investing in the community, no matter the skin color, be grateful. Or if you are an individual who is on the outside, you may be in the diaspora or you may be in other section of the country. then basically question no man, ask, and then know if you're looking at a video, even so, be in a frame of mind that you're open-minded to basically be like, okay, how is this person giving back to the community? Because it is not all about exploitation. The other party that I'm making mention of in the video has been in the country for over 40 years. Over 40 years, basically creating a platform in his property to try and pretty much support the community of Bellasgate. I went through university doing my geology degree, and me never hear about a man yet. Me never hear none of my lecture then mention nothing about this man who basically would have been doing what he has done to try and pretty much provide means of income to the communities. The man created his spring water business. The man basically would have invested it and would have invited community members to be a part of it. And many of them themselves basically mashed down the man thing. This man reaching a stage now where the man basically is saying, yeah, it's as if he say, yo, John Star, be a fight against, fight against, fight against. The reality is there is so many people that are here in our country who pretty much are investing in our country. We should be open to basically collaborating with them, learning from them, because I am learning from this man. There is so much I have learned in the short space of time, and I was willing to share that in the videos to basically make it available to many Jamaicans, because since I created that video or those videos, when I engage with many Jamaicans, they themselves would be indicating to me that they are not aware, or they were not aware about a property like this, or they were not aware of accessible, let's just say, heritage, like a geo-heritage site in the mind, basically speaking, that they could have access to learn from. We hear about Port Royal, we hear about, say for example, Blue Hole, we hear basically about Green Grotto Caves, but pretty much Bellas Gate is a treasure trove, long story short. And in essence, this gentleman would have put himself out there to try and make it available for Jamaicans to know about. And my way as an individual who would have gone through UWI in the geological department is to also provide a means of authority, if you will, that, yeah, man, what it is that we're seeing is true. See? So in me saying that, it is pretty much me highlighting that on a whole, we should not be combative. We should basically apply reason and do our best to take politics out of science, and even so out of possibilities like opportunities, community development opportunities, and even business opportunities. All right. Not having said what I've said, the videos that we have created, they remain open for the public to learn from. And I will continue to make the videos that I make. As I've said, I started this journey to make it available for the layman to learn about, because I can just share a bit about my personal journey going through UWI and basically being exposed to what I have been exposed to in terms of Jamaica's earthquake hazards, or Jamaica's earthquake readiness, or Jamaica's capacity to pretty much know what our resources are, etc., etc. At the end of the day, there is so much knowledge that is lacking. And there is knowledge that is lacking because at the end of the day, one, investment for the availability of the knowledge is not readily available. Geological maps, as I've indicated in one of our videos, must be updated, or should be updated on a consistent basis, right? Sorry. The reality is that what is available to the public is generally what would have been created or updated based on the 1980s, 1990s, etc. Right? And that is primarily just for the mainland Jamaica. For those of you who are aware, the exploration exploits on the offshore for the oil and natural gas, that requires the private entity or entities slash investors to basically come in and put up for them own money. But let me show you still, as a country, we are set back by not having readily available at least a geological offshore map that these entities can look at. See, at least we have that for the mainland, but there is not that there on the offshore. And you have to keep in mind that Jamaica's waters is using rough mats at least 3 times the size of mainland Jamaica to map the entire Jamaica. You can't do that in 1 week. You understand? To do that properly, you probably are look on a year. So when now we're gonna look at having the oil exploration company now come in and know that they have to basically map the particular area that they have the license for. And to do the mapping, you can't do the mapping like we would do when we have land that myself as a geologist can go up and just look at. They have to do borehole testing. They basically have to do some form of seismic reflection and other geophysical tools or methods to pretty much get the seafloor map provided. And to do that costs a significant money. It takes significant time. And what the public must be aware of is that when they know, make them investment and be able to have a basic understanding about the lithology that goes vertically and even horizontally. That is not available for the public to be aware of. Us as a public would have to spend them the kind of money there to make sure we are aware of it. So in essence, the extent of the value, potential value of Jamaica's offshore is basically going to be dependent on what private players are willing to invest. And basically speaking, that is something that as a country we should move away from. So all of us who are talking about, oh yeah, this and this and that about the foreigners, again, I say it, if you have your money, put your money where your mouth is. If you don't have the money, you have to understand how the economics work. Because if me no create my maps, who are you to look at me and tell me that I need to make my maps available for you to see? It's copyright. It's my property. Just like my videos are my property. I did not have to make them available to the public, but I make them available because this is my way of educating and empowering and to basically let people know that here we go now, we need to invest more and we need to invest in geotourism. And that is my agenda. Pushing geotourism is not just about extracting or to take from, but basically to say, you know what, come here, look at this. And we pretty much can even expand that and extend that to other countries because basically speaking, using what it is that I would have seen in the Bellas Gate, there's still so much more that I am open to learning. And I can tell you, I intend to go back up there and to pretty much map the entire area. I am not going to make everything on the map available just like that. It costs me money. It costs me time. So, what you gonna say? The, oh, me, this and me and that because I'm not making it available. I don't care. Because I'm sure know if it was you, you would have done the same thing. So just use the meds, man. Balance. You understand? And just understand that at the end of the day, geology, the mineral sector, it takes money, significant investment that the country is not upfront putting forward to do. All right. And I would just like to get back into the copyright infringement thing. Yeah, man, we're glad to run that out, man. You understand me, I say? Because OB Fitness, I mean that. Those of you who know the story know that I come from the ground up with OB Fitness. So if you come across our content or you basically are the view that you would like to use something, go through the right channel. At least make sure that you reference the creator. Don't plagiarize. And or don't act like you're trying to cyberbully. Because I'm not take that. No time. And that's the kind of intensity that I'm come with, because at the end of the day, you have to be intense with doing what it is that I'm doing. As I've indicated in other content, unorthodox is our way. I have a geo background, I have a martial arts background, self-defense background, fitness background. All that is me. At the end of the day, that is basically how OB Fitness would have been born. Personal training, self-defense, martial arts, nutritional support. How can geo explore? As an individual, where OB Fitness is concerned, that is OB Fitness. So what you see on our YouTube, that is basically what we're making available. And again, it's not everything we're going to put on YouTube, because at the end of the day, YouTube is still a platform that nonetheless is not going to compensate the entity at the levels that the entity should be compensated. Hence why our website is there. Hence why a lot of our content, just the same, is protected by a paywall on our website. It's economics, a business. So that's just all I want to say at that point in time. I'm seeing people, Nikasha, yeah man, in the house, SF, oh, Brazilian, big up yourself. Wow, that's big. Yeah man, that's nice. Tracy, big up. Sweet Pea, yes, I appreciate your sharings and the teachings too. Thanks. You're most welcome. Most welcome. I do hope that I have shared everything that needed to be shared. I would just like to mention this as well, that keep in mind that for Jamaica's sake, Jamaica has come a far way, and we do have a tremendous amount of talented and hardworking people in various sectors. What comes to mind now is the earthquake unit of Jamaica. Um, they are doing a tremendous amount of work, significant work, and I would like to big up the current head, Mr. Tanko, and his team. Right? You know, today I even saw that they released a bulletin of a minor earthquake in, I believe, the Hagley Gap area in St. Thomas. And what it is that we all should be fully grateful for is that, you know, at least as a country, without the investments being where it should be, we still have people and entities fully committed to doing what they can to safeguard our country. We should not negate the reality that we're living in a seismically active zone. Yes, and the reality too is that with seismics, active seismic, that is, we should anticipate as well that we have movement of material subsurface, and material could be mineral wealth material from different areas. So that's the reason why, as I've indicated, you know, continuous mapping is critical. Uh, Similarly speaking, no, we should have at least observed the kind of outcomes from the recent heavy rainfall. That is definitely something that, nonetheless, you know, is going to take consistent effort from all stakeholders, geared towards safeguarding the different areas of the country in terms of drainage, in terms of proper development planning, in terms of regulation, etc. All of this is critical for the country to move forward. And I do believe the country is moving forward. And, you know, freedom of speech is there. But we should always ensure that we establish respect. So again, if we're going to take content from someone else's platform, you know, be respectful, be mindful that other parties would have made investments to create that content. So just to plagiarize or to act like you're trying to, you know, totally disregard the owner and to create a different narrative should be something that we recognize it would not be tolerated by entities such as ourselves. So, notwithstanding that, still, you know, we're entirely grateful for the support we have received, And we're entirely grateful also for that form of publicity, because nonetheless, it indicates to me that OB Fitness is moving forward. So, with that being said, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for the support over the years. Thank you very much for watching our videos. And we do hope to continue to provide you with the kind of value that you pretty much give us a form of reciprocation in saying that, yeah, man, you like what we're doing. So big up yourself. And until next time, take care. Big up yourself, Tracy.